Your life is not chaotic because you lack talent. Your mind is fractured because you live without structure. This audiobook is not about motivation, hacks, or inspiration. It is about discipline. In the next 60 days, you will train your attention the way warriors train their bodies, through silence, repetition, and systems. No hype, no excuses, no distraction. If you follow this system, your focus will return, your mind will calm, and your life will reorganize itself around clarity. This is not optional. This is the reset. Chapter 1. Stop trying to focus, start training it. Stop trying to focus. Trying is the mistake. Trying assumes focus appears when you want it. It does not. Focus appears when it has been trained to obey. Focus is not a personality trait. It is not talent. It is not something you either have or lack. Focus is a conditioned skill, built the same way strength is built. Through exposure, through resistance, through repetition. You don't rise into focus. You're shaped into it. Most people misunderstand this from the start. They sit down and attempt to concentrate. They hope their mind cooperates. They become frustrated when it doesn't. Then they blame themselves. That cycle repeats for years. That's the problem. And that's the key. You are not failing because you lack discipline. You are failing because you are using the wrong method. It's not about effort. It's about structure. Say this clearly. You don't change your life. You change what you repeat. Most people attempt radical change. New routines, extreme schedules, sudden intensity. It feels productive. It feels serious. And it fails. Intensity burns out. Repetition compounds. What you repeat, you become. What you avoid controls you. If you avoid boredom, boredom controls you. If you avoid silence, noise controls you. If you avoid resistance, distraction controls you. You have a choice. Train focus, or to be trained by distraction. There is no third option. Focus is built in boring moments. Moments where nothing exciting happens. Moments where the mind wants escape. That urge to check. That urge to move. That urge to stimulate. That is the training point. Most people flee that moment. They reach for the phone. They switch tasks. They tell themselves they'll focus later. Later never comes. Rule 1. Focus is trained at the moment you want to escape. That's the system. You do not wait to feel focused. You stay anyway. This is not about forcing productivity. It's about conditioning obedience. Your mind must learn one rule. When you sit, you stay. Not forever. Not heroically. Consistently. Short sessions. Repeated daily. Same rules. Same constraints. That's how the nervous system learns. Trying to focus relies on emotion. Training focus relies on repetition. You don't need their permission. You don't need motivation. You need a system that removes choice. Choice is the enemy of focus. Every time you ask, "Do I feel like focusing?" you hand authority to impulse. Remove the question. Install the rule. Rule 2. Focus happens at a fixed time, regardless of mood. Same time, same place, same constraint. That's the key. When time and place are fixed, resistance loses leverage. The mind stops negotiating. It starts complying. This is how habits form. Not through inspiration, through predictability. Most people overestimate what focus feels like. They expect clarity, calm, flow. Training does not feel like that. Training feels dull, uneventful, sometimes irritating. That discomfort is not failure. It is evidence. It means you are touching the edge of your conditioning. Rule 3. Discomfort is not a signal to stop. It is the signal to stay. Stay without stimulation. Stay without reward. Stay without commentary. Silence matters here. Silence is not empty time. Silence removes escape routes. When there is no noise, no input, no novelty, the mind is exposed. And exposure is how conditioning works. You sit in silence. You work in silence. You let boredom arrive. You do not fight boredom. You do not entertain it. You let it pass. This trains attention endurance. Most people avoid silence because it reveals restlessness. That restlessness is already there. Silence simply removes the mask. What you avoid controls you. If silence feels unbearable, that tells you something. It tells you training is necessary. Rule 4. Silence is a training tool, not a comfort tool. Use it deliberately. No background audio. No constant input. No self-soothing through noise. Not forever. During training blocks. That distinction matters. Focused training is not all-day intensity. It is controlled exposure. Which brings us to duration. People fail because they aim too long. They break consistency. 10 minutes done daily beats 1 hour done once. That's the system. Rule 5. Short, repeatable focus blocks beat long, inconsistent sessions. Set a duration you can repeat without debate. Start small. Protect the streak. You don't build focus by heroic effort. You build it by not breaking the chain. You have a choice. Protect consistency or chase intensity. Intensity flatters the ego. Consistency rewires the brain. That's the key. Notice what is happening here. We're not talking about tasks. We're talking about behavior. Focused training is task agnostic. The content does not matter. The rule does. Sit. Remove input. Apply attention. Stay until time ends. Repeat tomorrow. That's it. If the mind wanders, you return. Without frustration. Without commentary. Returning is the repetition. Returning is the rep. Every return strengthens control. Rule 6. Wandering is not failure. Not returning is. This removes drama. This removes self-judgment. You're not here to feel good. You are here to train obedience. You don't need their permission to be disciplined. You don't need approval. You don't need ideal conditions. You need a rule set you follow regardless of mood. That's discipline. It's not about intelligence. It's not about passion. It's about structure. Say it again. You don't change your life. You change what you repeat. Repeat avoidance, and distraction becomes identity. Repeat presence, and focus becomes default. What you repeat, you become. What you avoid controls you. This chapter establishes the foundation. Focus is not something you summon. It is something you condition. In the next chapter, we remove the next illusion. The belief that distraction is a personal flaw. It isn't. It's a system. And systems can be dismantled. Chapter 2. Distraction is a system, not a weakness. Distraction is not a character flaw. It is not a lack of intelligence. It is not a moral failure. Distraction is a system, and systems produce predictable results. If your attention fractures daily, it is because your environment is designed to fracture it, not accidentally. By default, this is the first correction you must accept. You're not broken. You are unmanaged. That's the key. Most people internalize distraction as weakness. They say, I can't focus. They say, I lack discipline. They say, something is wrong with me. Nothing is wrong with you. What's wrong is that your inputs are uncontrolled. Say this clearly. If you don't control your inputs, you surrender your outputs. Attention follows input. Always. Noise in creates noise out. Fragmented input creates fragmented thinking. Constant novelty creates shallow focus. This is not opinion. This is mechanics. Your phone is not neutral. Notifications are not harmless. Background noise is not passive. They're inputs, and inputs shape behavior. Most people attempt to fix distraction internally. They try harder. They force willpower. They lecture themselves. That fails because the environment keeps winning. You have a choice. Fight yourself or redesign your inputs. Choose structure. Distraction persists because your day has no defensive perimeter. Anything can enter your attention at any time. Messages, alerts, news, other people's urgency. That is not freedom. That is exposure. Rule 1. Attention requires boundaries. No boundaries means no focus. High-focus individuals do not have superior willpower. They have stricter input control. That's the key. Phones are the clearest example. They are not the problem. Unrestricted access is. If your phone is always present, always active, always audible, then distraction is guaranteed. Not possible. Guaranteed. Rule 2. Anything that can interrupt you will interrupt you. Design accordingly. This is not about eliminating technology. It is about assigning it a place. Inputs must have time and location, not constant availability. That's system design. Create phone-free zones. Create notification-free hours. Create silence by default. Not later. Now. You don't need their permission to do this. You don't need to announce it. You set the rule and enforce it. Rule 3. Silence is the default state. Inputs must earn entry. Most people do the opposite. They live in constant input and hope for moments of focus. That never works. Focus emerges when the environment stops attacking attention. Noise matters here. Not just digital noise. Auditory clutter. Background media. Constant voices. People claim they need noise to focus. That is conditioning, not truth. The brain adapts to stimulation. Remove stimulation, and restlessness appears. That does not mean noise is required. It means dependency has formed. What you avoid controls you. If silence makes you uncomfortable, that is evidence, not a reason to escape. Rule 4. Discomfort during silence is withdrawal, not danger. Stay. This is training. You're not here to be comfortable. You're here to be in control. Visual clutter matters too. Mess is input. Open tabs are input. Unfinished tasks in view are input. They pull on attention silently. Rule 5. Your workspace should say one thing only: work. Nothing else. Clear the desk. Close the tabs. Remove visual options. Choice is cognitive tax. Reduce it. If you don't control your inputs, you surrender your outputs. Say it again. Most people attempt focus while drowning in stimuli. Then they blame themselves for failing. That is backward. Control precedes discipline. Design precedes effort. This chapter is about responsibility, not blame. Once you see distraction as a system, you gain leverage. Systems can be redesigned. Start with time. When are inputs allowed? When are they blocked? Rule 6. Create scheduled input windows. Messages are checked at defined times. News is consumed intentionally, not passively. Entertainment has boundaries. Not because entertainment is bad, because uncontrolled input is destructive. You don't eliminate inputs. You sequence them. That's the key. Now, consider people. Other people's urgency is still urgency, but it does not have to become yours. If you're always available, you're never focused. Rule 7. Availability is a choice, not an obligation. Set expectations. Define response windows. Protect focus blocks. You don't need their permission. This is not selfish. It is functional. High focus output requires protected time. Now look at habits that invite distraction. Checking just once. Leaving devices within reach. Keeping notifications just in case. Those are not accidents. They are design flaws. Rule 8. Remove friction for focus. Add friction to distraction. Phone out of reach. Apps off the home screen. Notifications disabled by default. Make distraction inconvenient. The brain follows the path of least resistance. That's system design. Most people rely on self-control. Self-control is finite. Systems are not. It's not about strength. It's about setup. Say it clearly. It's not about weakness. It's about discipline. Specifically, environmental discipline. What you repeat, you become. What you avoid controls you. Repeat uncontrolled input, and distraction becomes identity. Repeat boundaries, and focus stabilizes. This is not a one-time cleanup. It is a standard, daily reset, daily enforcement. Rule 9. Protect your environment every day. Mess returns. Notifications creep back. Boundaries erode. Maintenance is required. This is training, not a phase. You have a choice. Be managed by your environment, or manage it. If you don't control your inputs, you surrender your outputs. That sentence should be automatic now. In the next chapter, we remove the final dependency, the need for constant stimulation. We return to the foundation, silence, because silence is not absence. It is power. Chapter 3. Silence is the foundation of authority. Silence is not optional. It is foundational. If you want control over your attention, you must remove constant stimulation. Not occasionally, deliberately. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the absence of intrusion. That's the distinction most people miss. They think silence is for rest, for recovery, for calm. That is incomplete. High performers use silence as a training ground, not to relax, to sharpen. Noise weakens the mind. Silence hardens it. Say it again. Noise weakens the mind. Silence hardens it. Your mind has been trained to expect input. Audio, visuals, notifications, commentary. When input stops, instability appears. Restlessness, impatience, mental wandering. That is not a problem. That is exposure. Silence removes the buffer that hides lack of control. Most people flee at this point. They label silence uncomfortable. They add noise back in. Music, podcasts, background sound. That escape reinforces dependency. What you avoid controls you. You have a choice. Use silence as a teacher, or remain dependent on stimulation. Silence rebuilds attention because it forces the mind to settle on its own. No novelty, no distraction, no escape. The mind either stabilizes or reveals its weakness. Both outcomes are useful. That's the key. Authority begins internally. A mind that cannot tolerate silence cannot command itself. A mind that cannot command itself cannot lead behavior. Silence is where authority is trained. Rule 1. Silence is not passive time. It is active conditioning. When you sit or work in silence, you are not doing nothing. You are removing crutches. The mind learns balance by losing supports. This is why silence feels difficult at first. You are experiencing unfiltered cognition. Thoughts arise without interruption. Impulses surface without suppression. Do not engage them. Do not suppress them. Let them pass. Rule 2. In silence, observe without interference. This builds distance between impulse and action. Distance creates control. That control is authority. Most people confuse authority with dominance. It is not loud. It is not reactive. Authority is calm command. Silence cultivates that. Noise trains reaction. Silence trains response. That difference defines focus. Noise weakens the mind. Silence hardens it. Say it again. Consider how high performers operate. Athletes, commanders, strategists. They value quiet, not because they are fragile, because they need clarity. Silence sharpens perception. Subtlety becomes visible. Errors are noticed. Thoughts slow enough to be examined. Constant noise blurs all of this. Rule 3. If clarity matters, silence is mandatory. This applies directly to focus training. When you remove background noise during focus blocks, attention has only one place to go: the task or the discomfort. Both are productive. If attention stays on the task, focus strengthens. If discomfort appears, endurance strengthens. Either way, training occurs. That's the key. Most people think they focus better with noise because silence reveals weakness. That belief is backwards. Noise masks weakness. Silence exposes it. Exposure precedes improvement. You don't need their permission to claim silence. You don't need consensus. You set the rule. Rule 4. Your focus blocks are silent by default. No music, no videos, no commentary. This is non-negotiable. Not because noise is evil, but because silence trains authority. Authority over attention. Authority over impulse. Authority over self. This does not mean your entire day must be silent. That would be impractical. This means silence is used deliberately, as a tool, as a condition. High performers compartmentalize input. They do not live in constant stimulation. You shouldn't either. Rule 5. Silence has a defined place in your day. During training blocks, during reflection, during transitions. Silence before action sharpens intent. Silence after action consolidates learning. This is systemized, not philosophical. Now address the resistance. Your mind will protest. It will claim silence is uncomfortable, that it increases anxiety, that it is inefficient. Those are withdrawal symptoms. You are not depriving the mind of something essential. You are removing excess. Rule 6. Discomfort during silence is temporary. Loss of control without silence is permanent. Choose accordingly. Silence does something else most people overlook. It slows time perception. When stimulation is constant, time blurs. Days disappear. Weeks feel empty. In silence, moments expand. Attention deepens. Presence increases. This stabilizes the nervous system. A stable nervous system supports sustained focus. That's the key. Now, convert this into behavior. Start with short exposures. 10 minutes of silence daily. No phone, no audio, no input. Sit or work. Do nothing else. Increase gradually. Rule 7. Silence exposure increases incrementally. Do not jump to extremes. Consistency matters more than duration. What you repeat, you become. If you repeat silence, calm authority becomes default. If you avoid silence, restlessness remains. Noise weakens the mind. Silence hardens it. Repetition matters here. Every day you train silence. You reinforce self-command. You prove to yourself that you do not need stimulation to function. That proof builds confidence. Quiet confidence, not performative confidence. Authority does not announce itself. It is felt. Now integrate silence with focus. Silence plus fixed time. Silence plus fixed place. Silence plus duration. This combination trains attention faster than any hack. Rule 8. Silence amplifies every other focus system. Without silence, systems leak. With silence, they hold. This chapter is not about becoming a monk. It is about removing unnecessary noise. Your life does not need more input. It needs fewer interruptions. You have a choice. Fill every gap with noise, or use silence to consolidate control. If you choose silence, understand this. Silence will confront you. Thoughts you avoided will surface. Impatience will show itself. Boredom will knock. That is not failure. That is training. What you repeat, you become. What you avoid controls you. Avoid silence, and noise controls you. Practice silence, and you control yourself. That's the foundation. In the next chapter, we remove the final illusion. The belief that motivation sustains discipline. It does not. Structure does. Chapter 4. Replace motivation with daily non-negotiables. Motivation is unreliable. That is not an opinion. That is observation. It rises without warning. It disappears without explanation. And it never asks for permission before leaving. If your discipline depends on motivation, your discipline is temporary. That's the key. High-functioning people do not operate on motivation. They operate on non-negotiables. Rules, structures, defaults. The mind obeys structure faster than emotion, especially under fatigue. Say this clearly. You don't rise to motivation. You fall to your systems. Most people wait to feel ready. They wait to feel focused. They wait to feel driven. That waiting destroys consistency. Motivation is a feeling. Feelings fluctuate. Systems persist. You have a choice. Build your life on what fluctuates, or build it on what repeats. Choose repetition. Daily non-negotiables are behaviors that happen regardless of mood. No debate, no negotiation, no emotional input. They're not extreme. They are boring. That is why they work. Rule 1. If a behavior requires motivation, it is not a system. Systems remove decision-making. They replace emotion with execution. This is where most people resist. They believe discipline means force. They believe it means pushing harder. It does not. Discipline means removing choice. Every choice creates friction. Every decision drains attention. By the time you reach important work, your mind is already tired. That's the mistake. Rule 2. The fewer decisions you make, the more focus you retain. Daily non-negotiables simplify life. Wait time, focus block time, silence exposure, input boundaries. These happen because they are scheduled, not because you feel like it. You don't need their permission to live this way. You don't need approval. You need consistency. Most people think structure limits freedom. That is backwards. Structure protects freedom. Without structure, your day is hijacked by impulses. Other people's urgency. Random input. That is not freedom. That is reaction. Rule 3. Structure creates autonomy. Lack of structure creates compliance. The mind prefers clarity. It resists ambiguity. When rules are clear, resistance decreases. When rules are vague, negotiation begins. That negotiation drains energy. So we remove it. Non-negotiables must be precise, not general. Work more is not a non-negotiable. Focus from 7 to 7:45 in silence is specificity matters. Rule 4. If it's vague, it will be ignored. Set non-negotiables that are small enough to repeat daily. Not heroic, not impressive, repeatable. This is where ego interferes. Ego wants intensity. Ego wants dramatic change. Ego wants visible effort. Discipline wants quiet consistency. It's not about ambition. It's about obedience. Say it again. You don't rise to motivation. You fall to your systems. Under stress, under fatigue, under pressure, you will not perform at your best. You will perform at your most practiced. That's the key. So we practice the basics. Daily, without discussion. Now define the core non-negotiables. First, a fixed wake-up time. Not perfect, consistent. The nervous system stabilizes with predictability. Rule 5. Wake up at the same time, regardless of sleep quality. This trains resilience, not comfort. Second, a daily focus block. Same time, same place, silent, even if short. Rule 6. The focus block happens even on bad days, especially on bad days. Third, silence exposure. Deliberate, scheduled, not when convenient, when planned. Rule 7. Silence is practiced, not stumbled into. Fourth, input control. Phones, notifications, noise. Boundaries are set in advance. Rule 8. Inputs follow rules, not impulses. These are not suggestions. They are defaults. Defaults matter more than intentions. Most people have intentions. Few have defaults. Defaults run when you are tired. Intentions do not. You have a choice. Rely on intention or install defaults. Now address the common objection. What if I miss a day? You will. Perfection is not the goal. Return is. Rule 9. Never miss twice. 1 miss is an event. 2 is a pattern. Patterns shape identity. Identity follows repetition. What you repeat, you become. What you avoid controls you. Avoid structure, and chaos controls you. Repeat structure, and calm authority forms. Motivation is loud but weak. Systems are quiet and strong. That's the trade. Notice something important. None of these rules require enthusiasm. None require confidence. None require belief. They require compliance. Compliance comes first. Belief follows later. That's the key. Most people wait to believe before acting. High performers act until belief is inevitable. Daily non-negotiables remove the emotional drama from progress. No more asking, "Do I feel like it?" That question is irrelevant. The rule already decided. You don't need their permission to live this way. You don't need consensus from friends. You don't need validation. You need execution. Now understand this clearly. Systems do not care about excuses. They respond only to behavior. If the system is followed, progress occurs. If it is not, it doesn't. Simple. Not easy. Simple. Motivation will still appear sometimes. That's fine. Enjoy it. But do not depend on it. Motivation is a bonus, not the engine. Say it one last time. You don't rise to motivation. You fall to your systems. Build systems worth falling into. In the next chapter, we make this practical. We lock focus into a fixed daily structure, a focus block that never moves. Because consistency does not emerge from effort. It emerges from design. Chapter 5. Build a daily focus block that never moves. Focus does not appear randomly. It stabilizes when it has a location. Without a fixed time and place, focus remains theoretical, occasional, unreliable. That's the key. If you want unbreakable focus, you must give it a permanent address. Same time, same place. No negotiation. Most people treat focus like a mood. They work when they feel ready. They wait for clarity. They adjust constantly. That behavior guarantees inconsistency. Focus must be scheduled before it is felt. You have a choice. Let focus depend on how you feel, or force it to exist through structure. Choose structure. The daily focus block is the spine of this system. One block, every day, non-negotiable, not long, not heroic, consistent. Rule 1. Focus needs a fixed appointment, not flexible intention. When time moves, discipline breaks. When place changes, attention scatters. The nervous system learns through repetition. Same cues, same sequence. This is conditioning, not inspiration. Your brain begins to associate that time and place with one behavior only. Attention. Over time, resistance drops. Entry becomes faster. Depth increases. That's how focus stabilizes. Same time, same place. No negotiation. Now define the block. Start small. 30 minutes is enough. Even 20 is acceptable. Long sessions are not required. Daily repetition is. Rule 2. Duration is secondary. Consistency is primary. A short block repeated daily trains more focus than long blocks done sporadically. Do not argue with this. It is how conditioning works. The block must be protected. Nothing enters. No messages. No notifications. No background noise. Silence is mandatory. You already understand why. Rule 3. The focus block is silent by default. This is where most people compromise. They allow just a little input. Music, ambient sound, something familiar. That weakens the training. This block is not about comfort. It is about control. Noise weakens the mind. Silence hardens it. Now define the place. The place matters more than aesthetics. It must be consistent, predictable, purpose-built. Same chair, same desk, same orientation. Rule 4. The environment must signal one thing only. Work. No eating. No scrolling. No casual behavior. When you sit there, you train. This removes ambiguity. Ambiguity invites negotiation. Negotiation invites distraction. You don't need their permission to create this boundary. You don't need ideal conditions. You need repeatability. Same time, same place, no negotiation. Now address the internal resistance. You will not feel ready every day. Some days you will feel foggy, irritated, unmotivated. Those days matter most. Rule 5. The focus block happens regardless of mental state, especially when the mind resists, because resistance is part of the training stimulus. Skipping on hard days trains avoidance. Showing up trains authority. What you repeat, you become. What you avoid controls you. Avoid the block when tired and fatigue controls you. Honor the block, and fatigue loses leverage. Now clarify what happens inside the block. You do one thing, one task, predefined, no deciding inside the block. Rule 6. Decisions are made before the block begins. The task is chosen in advance. The materials are ready. No setup inside the block. Setup is friction. Friction invites delay. When the block starts, you begin immediately. If the mind wanders, you return. No judgment, no frustration. Returning is the rep. Rule 7. Every return strengthens focus. This removes performance pressure. You're not measured by output quality. You are measured by compliance. Did you sit? Did you stay? Did you finish the time? That's it. Completion matters more than performance. Performance improves later. Now address interruptions. Interruptions destroy conditioning. Phones must be physically removed, not silenced. Removed. Rule 8. If it's within reach, it's a liability. Out of the room, if necessary. This is not extreme. It is precise. Precision creates reliability. Other people must be informed. Briefly, without apology. I'm unavailable during this time. That's enough. You don't need their permission. Availability is a choice. Now consider time of day. Morning is optimal, before the world intrudes, before decisions accumulate. But consistency matters more than optimization. Rule 9. Choose the time you can protect daily. Early morning works because fewer inputs compete. But any protected time can work if defended. Once chosen, do not move it casually. Moving the block breaks the association. Same time, same place, no negotiation. Say it again. Now understand this. The daily focus block is not about productivity. It is about identity. You are becoming someone who shows up daily. Someone who does not negotiate with impulse. Someone who finishes what they start. That identity compounds. After weeks, something shifts. Resistance decreases. Entry becomes automatic. Focus stops feeling like effort. It feels normal. That is the goal. Not intensity. Normality. Focus as default. This is why the block never moves. Moving it signals that focus is optional. Fixed placement signals priority. Priority trains respect. Your mind respects what you protect. Protect the block. Now address missed days. They will happen. Do not spiral. Do not overcorrect. Return immediately. Rule 10. Never miss twice. Missing once is noise. Missing twice is drift. Drift erodes systems. Return the next day. Same time. Same place. No guilt. No explanation. Compliance restores momentum. You have a choice. Reset immediately or rationalize delay. Rationalization is how systems die. Do not explain. Execute. The daily focus block is the anchor. Everything else builds around it. Without it, focus remains conceptual. With it, focus becomes embodied. This block trains attention. Silence trains authority. Consistency trains identity. Together, they rebuild unbreakable focus. Same time, same place, no negotiation. In the next chapter, we confront the final barrier, boredom, because boredom is not an obstacle. It is the weight that builds strength. Chapter 6. Learn to sit with boredom without escaping. Boredom is not the enemy. It is the threshold. Most people never cross it. They feel boredom and immediately escape. They check something. They switch tasks. They stimulate. That reaction is automatic, conditioned, reinforced daily. Escaping boredom trains distraction. Enduring boredom trains power. That's the key. Say it clearly. Boredom is the weight. Focus is the muscle. You cannot build the muscle without the weight. Boredom is the sensation that appears when stimulation drops and attention has nowhere easy to go. It is not danger. It is not a signal to stop. It is resistance. And resistance is required for training. Most people misunderstand boredom. They think it means something is wrong. They think it means the task is flawed. They think it means they are inefficient. None of that is true. Boredom simply means novelty is gone. That is when focus begins. You have a choice. Treat boredom as a problem to eliminate, or treat it as the training stimulus. Choose correctly. High performers are not immune to boredom. They are trained to stay anyway. That difference matters. Rule 1. The moment boredom appears is the moment training starts. If you escape before boredom, you never train focus. You only train responsiveness to stimulation. Every time you reach for novelty, you reinforce a pattern. Attention fragments. Endurance weakens. What you repeat, you become. What you avoid controls you. Avoid boredom, and boredom controls you. Endure boredom, and you control yourself. That's the trade. Now understand the mechanism. When boredom appears, the brain is deprived of easy dopamine. It protests. It searches for relief. That search is not conscious. It is automatic. If relief is always available, the brain never adapts. Remove relief, and adaptation begins. This is conditioning. Rule 2. Do not negotiate with boredom. Do not label it. Do not dramatize it. Do not seek to fix it. Stay. Staying is the repetition. Most people believe focus requires stimulation. Music, noise, background content. That belief is learned dependency. Focus requires the opposite. Stability, stillness, repetition. Boredom forces stillness. That's why it works. Say it again. Boredom is the weight. Focus is the muscle. Now apply this to the daily focus block. When you sit down in silence, boredom will appear. Sometimes immediately, sometimes after a few minutes. That moment matters. Rule 3. When boredom appears, do nothing. No checking, no shifting, no stimulation. Continue the task, or simply sit. Either is acceptable. What matters is that you do not escape. Escaping teaches the nervous system that discomfort must be avoided. Staying teaches it that discomfort is survivable. Survivable discomfort builds confidence. Quiet confidence. Authority. Authority over impulse. Most people seek comfort. High performers seek control. You don't need their permission to choose control. Now address the internal dialogue. The mind will generate reasons to leave. This is pointless. I'm not productive. I'll come back later. Those are not insights. They're escape routes. Rule 4. Thoughts that appear during boredom are not instructions. Observe them. Do not act. This creates separation between thought and behavior. That separation is power. You are not here to eliminate thoughts. You are here to stop obeying them automatically. That's the training. Now understand duration. Boredom does not last forever. It peaks, then it passes. If you stay long enough, something changes. Attention settles. The task deepens. Time perception shifts. This is the entrance to deep focus. Most people never experience this because they leave too early. Rule 5. Stay long enough for boredom to exhaust itself. This takes patience, not force. Patience is a form of discipline. Now consider the long-term effect. Repeated boredom exposure rewires your baseline. The urge for constant stimulation weakens. Attention endurance increases. Silence becomes tolerable. Eventually, silence becomes comfortable. That is not the goal. It is the side effect. The goal is control. Say it again. Boredom is the weight. Focus is the muscle. You would not expect strength without resistance. Do not expect focus without boredom. This applies beyond work. Waiting in line, sitting alone, walking without audio. These are training opportunities. Rule 6. Do not fill every gap with stimulation. Micro escapes add up. Each one reinforces dependency. Leave some moments empty. Not to relax, to train. You have a choice. Fill every moment, or leave space. Space builds capacity. Now address the fear. Some people fear boredom because it brings up discomfort, restlessness, anxiety, unresolved thoughts. That is not boredom itself. That is suppressed content surfacing. Silence reveals what noise hides. This is not harmful. It is informative. Rule 7. Discomfort revealed by boredom is data, not danger. You're learning how your mind behaves without input. That knowledge increases self-command. Most people avoid this knowledge. They remain dependent. Dependency is weakness, not moral weakness, functional weakness. Focus requires independence from stimulation. Now convert this into rules. During the focus block, no stimulation, no task switching, no novelty. If the task ends early, you sit. If boredom increases, you stay. Rule 8. The block ends when time ends, not when boredom appears. Time is the boundary, not comfort. This removes subjectivity. Subjectivity is where discipline fails. Objectivity holds. Now address productivity anxiety. Some days you will not produce much. That is acceptable. This is training, not output optimization. Rule 9. Compliance matters more than results during training. Results follow later. You are training attention endurance first. Endurance precedes intensity. This reframes boredom. Boredom is no longer wasted time. It is loaded time. Training time. Every minute you stay is a rep. Every rep compounds. What you repeat, you become. Repeat escape, and distraction becomes default. Repeat staying, and focus stabilizes. That's the key. You don't need their permission to be bored. You don't need justification. You are not obligated to be entertained. You are obligated to your systems. Systems create freedom. Now integrate boredom with identity. Someone who can sit with boredom is dangerous in a distracted world. They cannot be easily pulled. They cannot be easily manipulated. Their attention is theirs. That is authority. Authority does not rush. It does not fidget. It does not chase stimulation. It waits. Waiting is strength. Say it one last time. Boredom is the weight. Focus is the muscle. Lift the weight daily. In the next chapter, we remove another leak. Excess choice. Because choice drains attention before work even begins. And focus requires conservation. Chapter 7. Remove choice to eliminate mental fatigue. Decision-making is costly. Every choice consumes attention. Every choice reduces focus. Most people underestimate this. They believe decisions are harmless. They are not. By the time you sit down to work, you're already fatigued. Not physically, mentally, drained. That's the problem. And that's the key. Less choice, more control. Every optional action adds friction. Every open question siphons energy. By the time the real task arrives, the brain is weaker. High performers do not rely on willpower to overcome this. They eliminate unnecessary decisions. They structure life to conserve attention. They automate. Rule 1. Decisions that can be fixed in advance must be fixed. Wait time, work blocks, meals, clothing. Not because you are lazy, because energy is finite, and focus is priority. Your nervous system does not distinguish between trivial choices and essential ones. Each consumes the same resource. Each reduces capacity for deep work. Rule 2. Simplify routines to preserve cognitive energy for high-value tasks. Most people believe flexibility is freedom. It is not. It is distraction. Flexibility invites negotiation. Negotiation invites delay. Delay invites compromise. You have a choice. Embrace structure or drift through fatigue. Daily non-negotiables are part of this, but so is preparation. Pre-decide tasks. Pre-decide environment. Pre-decide sequence. Rule 3. Preparation reduces decision fatigue and strengthens focus. Morning routines illustrate this. Without fixed patterns, mornings are reactive. Emails, messages, scrolling. The brain begins the day fragmented. Control is ceded before work starts. With a structured routine, mornings are calm. The mind is aligned. Attention is reserved for priority tasks. Rule 4. Structure your start to defend your focus. Another common mistake is overanalyzing options during work. What should I do next? How long should I spend? Those questions kill momentum. Decision-making is energy. Energy is limited. Remove the question. Decide in advance. Follow the plan. Rule 5. Pre-plan all work segments to eliminate on-the-fly choices. Your systems do not need complexity. They need precision, repetition, consistency, less choice, more control. Now consider external requests. People will demand your attention. Some urgent, some trivial. Your mind wants to negotiate. Your ego wants to comply. Set boundaries. Define when interruptions are allowed. Schedule responses. Rule 6. Availability is a structured choice, not a default reaction. This reduces friction, preserves energy, defends focus. Next, consider trivial daily decisions. Clothing, meals, exercise. Fix them. Simplify them. Automate them. Rule 7. If a choice is repetitive, remove it from daily deliberation. Steve Jobs wore the same outfit daily. Einstein. Other high performers. Not for ego. For energy conservation. For focus. Now apply this to work blocks. During focus time, decisions must be pre-solved. Tasks assigned. Materials ready. Time allocated. No on-the-spot planning. No negotiation. No hesitation. Rule 8. Focus blocks succeed when all minor choices are removed. If a decision arises mid-block, defer it. Mark it. Do not resolve it. Resist the urge. Every avoidance reinforces the system. Every choice preserved strengthens attention. This is training. You are training your mind to resist distraction, to resist impulse, to conserve energy. That's the key. Most people misunderstand control. They think strength is brute willpower. It is not. It is structure. You do not need motivation to decide. You need defaults, non-negotiables, rules, less choice, more control. Daily decisions consume energy before work begins. They fragment focus. They erode endurance. Prevent that by designing your day with minimal decisions. Protect your cognitive resources. Train the nervous system to obey rules automatically. The benefit compounds. Minutes saved early multiply into hours of focus. Weeks of structured routines transform into identity. The person who eliminates unnecessary choice does not fatigue easily. They do not need willpower to start. They begin because it is default. The mind follows structure, not desire. Rule 9. Decisions must be pre-solved wherever possible. The last point is subtle but critical. When faced with unavoidable decisions, defer them to defined times. Do not negotiate in real time. Rule 10. Batch unavoidable choices to conserve attention. This is not convenience. It is precision. It is strategy. It is system design. Remember, less choice, more control. The next chapter builds on this principle. We take the rules and apply them to a fixed daily focus block. Because structure without execution is theory. Execution requires protecting the time and place of focus. Same time, same place. No negotiation. Chapter 8. Discipline your mornings or lose the day. The day begins before you touch a task, before your email, before your phone, before anyone else demands attention. The first hour of the day sets the nervous system's baseline. It defines energy. It defines focus. It defines control. Reactive mornings produce reactive days. Noise arrives first. Distraction arrives first. Impulse arrives first. You follow. You respond. You drift. Controlled mornings produce clarity. Structure arrives first. Discipline arrives first. Attention arrives first. That's the key. When the morning and attention follows, most people wake and drift. They reach for the phone, scroll, consume input before output. This is surrender. Every day, automatically, you have a choice. React or lead. Disorder or control. Rule 1. The first hour is non-negotiable. It sets the tone for the rest of the day. Not partially, completely. Start with wake time. Fixed, consistent, non-negotiable. Do not rely on alarm snoozes. Do not negotiate with fatigue. Do not argue with desire. Rule 2. Wake at the same time every day. Immediately after waking, establish movement. Not optional. Not negotiable. Activity signals the nervous system. Alertness rises. Control strengthens. Rule 3. Move deliberately. Stretch. Breathe. Activate. Next, create a structured sequence. Silence. Focus. Reflection. Preparation. Each step pre-decided. No improvisation. No choice. Rule 4. Morning tasks are fixed. They run automatically. Most people skip this. They wait for motivation. They wait for energy. Energy will fluctuate. Motivation will vanish. But rules persist. Rule 5. Structure precedes motivation. During this time, avoid external inputs. Phone stays off. Notifications silenced. News ignored. Your attention is yours first. Not reactive. Not borrowed. Rule 6. The morning is for self-command. Breakfast, hygiene, preparation, automate wherever possible. Remove choices that do not matter. Reduce decision fatigue. Preserve attention for meaningful work. Rule 7. Simplify every habitual morning action. High performers defend this hour aggressively. No negotiation with visitors, messages, or obligations. The first hour is sacred. When the day begins, energy is finite. Reactive mornings spend it immediately. Control mornings reserve it for priority tasks. Rule 8. Control the start, control the trajectory. After 1 week of disciplined mornings, patterns emerge. The nervous system adapts. Resistance drops. Clarity rises. The effect compounds. Reactive impulses weaken. Self-command strengthens. Focus becomes default. Most people underestimate this. They think productivity starts with tasks. It does not. It starts with control. Rule 9. Morning discipline is the lever. All else follows. Now integrate the focus block. The fixed daily focus block is easier to maintain after a control morning. Your system is warmed. Energy is aligned. Decision fatigue is minimized. Rule 10. Anchor the focus block immediately after the disciplined morning. This creates a pipeline. Attention flows naturally. Compliance becomes effortless. You don't need their permission to control your first hour. You don't need motivation. You need structure. You need repetition. When the morning and attention follows. Fail to win the morning, and the day is surrendered. Distraction leads. Impulse leads. Noise leads. You have a choice. Command the start or surrender the day. The next chapter applies measurement to maintain this structure. Because systems without tracking drift. What gets measured gets repeated. Chapter 9. Measure what you repeat, not what you wish. Focus is invisible. You cannot see it directly. You cannot feel it consistently. You cannot rely on willpower to maintain it. That's the problem. And that's the key. What gets measured gets repeated. Most people measure the wrong things. They measure intention. They measure desire. They measure how they feel about work. Those are unreliable metrics. They fluctuate daily. They are subjective. Focus is behavior. It is action. It is repetition. Rule 1. Measure what you do, not what you hope to do. Every focus block should be accounted for. Start time, duration, completion. No judgment. No commentary. Just data. Rule 2. Track consistency over intensity. The nervous system adapts to patterns, not spikes. One perfect day means nothing. 10 consecutive days of repetition build the foundation. Most people avoid measurement because they fear failure. They fear that logging incomplete or missed blocks will shame them. That is irrelevant. Measurement is not for ego. It is for obedience. It is for training. Rule 3. Metrics are feedback, not judgment. Use simple tools. A notebook, a spreadsheet, a habit tracker. Record each daily focus block. Record silence periods. Record input control adherence. This is enough. Not complicated. Not impressive. Consistent. Rule 4. Keep metrics simple and repeatable. Measurement reinforces attention because it creates accountability. The nervous system responds to structure. Data converts repetition into identity. You're no longer guessing if you're disciplined. You see in the log. Every entry compounds. Every missed block signals adjustment. Rule 5. Measurement exposes gaps before habits fail. Most people rely on memory. Memory is unreliable. It justifies avoidance. It erodes compliance. Recording behavior removes negotiation. It removes debate. It removes excuses. Rule 6. Accountability is built into the system, not demanded externally. Now consider evaluation. At the end of each week, review the data. Do not overanalyze. Do not punish. Identify patterns. Correct course. Reinforce what works. Rule 7. Weekly reviews maintain alignment without draining energy. This principle applies beyond focus blocks. Silence periods. Morning routines. Input control. Every repeated behavior that contributes to focus should be measured. Rule 8. Behavior is the metric of progress. Not feeling. Not aspiration. What gets measured gets repeated. The repetition phrase is literal. When you track and record a behavior, your nervous system learns. This is normal. This is expected. This is default. Missed entries are useful. They highlight leakage. They guide adjustment. Rule 9. Measurement does not punish. It guides. The goal is compounding control. Consistency builds identity. Identity stabilizes focus. Now integrate this with previous chapters. Daily focus blocks, silence, input control, disciplined mornings. These are your systems. Measurement ensures they hold. Without measurement, systems drift. Without drift, focus solidifies. Without solidification, nothing endures. Rule 10. Measure, track, repeat. This is not optional. It is structural. It is the mechanism by which repetition becomes automatic. You don't need motivation to log your blocks. You don't need inspiration to record your silence periods. You only need compliance. Compliance compounds. Patterns emerge. Identity forms. What gets measured gets repeated. In the next chapter, we integrate all systems into a daily architecture that preserves attention, builds endurance, and sustains calm authority. Because structure without integration is weak. Integration makes focus unbreakable. Chapter 10. Become the person who finishes. Focus is not a skill you practice once. It is a behavior you embody, and behaviors shape identity. The person who finishes is not born. They are built through repetition, through rules, through obedience to systems. Most people drift. They start projects. They abandon focus blocks. They chase novelty. That creates identity. Scattered, reactive, untrustworthy. You have a choice. Stay scattered or become someone who finishes. Completion is not optional. It is the proof of your systems, the evidence of your discipline. Rule 1. Finish what you start, every day, no exceptions. Each completed focus block compounds self-trust. Each finished task signals to the nervous system, you are reliable. You are capable. That trust is internal. It does not depend on recognition. It does not wait for applause. You don't find confidence. You earn it through completion. Say it again. You don't find confidence. You earn it through completion. Rule 2. Completion builds identity faster than intention. Small wins matter. Daily focus blocks. Silent sessions. Boundaries enforced. Each one finishes its course. Each one reinforces the neural pathway of reliability. Rule 3. Micro-completion accumulates into macro-identity. The scattered mind hesitates. It starts. It stops. It repeats. The disciplined mind acts. It finishes. It moves forward. Completion trains calm authority. Calm authority is unshakable. It does not announce itself. It is felt. You don't need to perform loudly. You need to finish quietly. Every unfinished task is a leak. It signals weakness. It conditions dependence on stimulation. Every finished task is a deposit. It signals strength. It conditions attention endurance. Rule 4. Treat every task, focus block, and system as non-negotiable. You will face resistance. The mind will suggest shortcuts. It will invent excuses. Ignore it. Finish anyway. Rule 5. Obedience to systems overrules impulse. Now integrate all chapters. Silence. Daily non-negotiables. Input control. Fixed focus blocks. Boredom endurance. Decision reduction. Discipline mornings. Measurement. Every system is a tool. Completion is the goal. Together, they reshape identity. Rule 6. Consistency in action creates a self that cannot be distracted. Completion is the ultimate test. Not speed, not quality, not recognition. Finish. Every day, every block, every rule. You don't find confidence. You earn it through completion. Rule 7. Completion compounds into authority. Authority is calm. Authority is invisible. Authority is unshakable. This is the final skill of focus. You become the person who commands attention, starting with yourself. Take control. Enforce the systems. Complete the blocks. Sit with boredom. Remove unnecessary decisions. Win the morning. Measure your behavior. And above all, finish. You have a choice. Remain scattered, or build the self that cannot be moved. You don't need their permission. You don't need motivation. You need compliance and repetition. Finish daily. Repeat. Compete with nothing but yourself. That is focus. That is authority. That is identity. And now, as you implement these systems, continue your journey. Subscribe to the channel to receive every chapter and every system in sequence. Reinforce the practice. Stay accountable. Finish what you start, because focus is not taught. It is lived. It is repeated. It is earned. You don't find confidence. You earn it through completion. And today you start earning it.